Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first edition of the 2026 College Football Podcast here from College Press Box. I'm Jim Capuano, and my partner, as always, is the one and only TJ Troop. TJ is a football historian. He's written 3 books on the game of American football. He's coached the game, played the game, he studies the game. He flat out absolutely loves the game almost as much as he loves his wife and children, and he's just a wonderful resource about the game of football at every level. I'm super excited to be here with him. TJ, welcome to 2026. Welcome to our first podcast. Welcome to the college football semifinals. How you doing?
I'm doing really well, Jim. Thank you for the wonderful introduction, and Happy New Year to everybody out there. This is one of those times a year that anyone who loves pro and college football, it is a smorgasbord of delights.
Smorgasbord of delights. That is beautiful. I would go to a restaurant if that was their name. I'd go there. When's the last time you've been to a smorgasbord?
I really can't say, though. When I ran track in college, that was our go-to. After the track meet, we'd stop at a smorgasbord, and you talk about a bunch of runners eating. So it's been a while, over about 50 years, I'd say.
Yeah, I don't know if it's been that long for me, but it's been a long time. But now I'm gonna have to go to Yelp and see if there's any around here. So let's start with the football championship subdivision, the FCS, a thrilling game in their championship game Monday night in Nashville, in Music City, between the number 2 ranked Montana State Bobcats and the unranked Illinois State Redbirds from the Missouri Valley Football Conference. First of all, what a testament to these two conferences and to the FCS itself, that the compelling game that they showed, I would say the competitive fire, but I would say camaraderie as well between the two teams, the athletes, the coaches, the fans. It was just an amazing experience, and the story of an unseeded Cinderella out of nowhere, to go to Bill Murray and Caddyshack, the Redbirds. Just a phenomenal story just to be there in the first place, beating number 16 Southeast Louisiana, then beating number 1 North Dakota State up in Fargo, erasing a 14-point deficit to win 29-28, scoring twice in the last 2.5 minutes and change of that game, and then upsetting UC Davis in California just to get there. They were world travelers and showed up and fell behind 28-14, came back with 2 fourth-quarter TDs, and when they had a chance to win the game, they had a blocked field goal and then an overtime, missed the extra point. Montana State capitalized with a beautiful throw on 4th and 10, playing for the title, down to literally their last play at the 14-yard line. Quarterback Justin Lamson threw a high pass to a beautiful catch to none other than the one and only Taco Dowler to catch the ball, and the extra point gave the Bobcats a 35-34 win in an absolute riveting game. What do you have to say about this game, TJ?
Well, I'm hoping that the announcer didn't go to one of those painful analogies and say that Taco leaped up and grabbed the enchilada to win the game. But whatever, however he described it, it was a hell of a play. And as you stated so well, look at what Illinois State accomplished. I mean, that makes you feel good about college football. And Montana State, based on a coach I worked for who had allegiance to both Montana and Montana State, he raved about both programs. So Montana State has been playing winning football for a long, long time. So Illinois State should be very proud of the game they gave them.
Yeah, no question about it. And hats off to to wide receiver Dylan Lord from Illinois State for an amazing game. 13 receptions, 161 yards, 2 TDs, and their quarterback, Tommy Rittenhouse, senior, 46 pass attempts, 33 completions, 311 yards passing on 4 TDs with no interceptions and 0 sacks. And their running game, right? I mean, they had a fine game from good old number 5, Victor Dawson, a junior running back who carried the ball 29 times for 126 yards, but it was not to be because of the fine play by Montana State, and Taco Dollar with his 8 receptions. His 1 TD was the game winner, and 111 yards. Just a phenomenal game all the way around. So hats off to both teams, to the FCS itself for an amazing, just an amazing, compelling, drama-filled, super fun game to watch, and great stories all the way around. So great job, FCS. All right, now, TJ, we've got, speaking of great jobs, 4 teams remaining that did their job in their quarterfinal round on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Where do you want to start? You want to go with the Ole Miss, with the start with the SEC?
Absolutely. Let's roll with it, Jim. Your thoughts on what the downfall was for Georgia?
I mean, the downfall for the Georgia was they couldn't get to the quarterback. I mean, Trinidad Chambliss had an amazing game, dropping back 46 times, sacked exactly 0 times, and we talk about a reversal with this guy, the way he played this game versus the last time he played Georgia just a little while ago. It's hard to believe he's the same player, right? I mean, Georgia's defense was absolutely shredded, which is not something anybody saw happening. We had 2 Ole Miss receivers with over 100 yards each, and they could not get to. And Lacey, the running back, had 98 yards, 2 yards shy of 100. They just couldn't get to the quarterback. They could not stop the offensive machine of Ole Miss, especially in the fourth quarter when it was panic time and they just went bananas. But that's my opinion. What did you see, and what am I missing in that?
No, you're dead on. You hit the bullseye, my friend. There is no doubt that based on what they've accomplished, not just this year but in the past, Georgia prides himself. Kirby Smart, their defense comes through. Well, when you don't sack the opposing quarterback and he throws over 40 times, and that's it. And let's add to that, Mississippi ran the ball well. They are, and I read online, one of the writers called them this year a team of destiny. And this has gone way beyond whatever is said with Lane Kiffin. This goes to players and the coaches that are there being united in advancing. And based upon what the observations I made in my notes about Ohio State and Miami, Miami's pass rush was just astounding. I mean, you just don't see an Ohio State offensive line struggle, not just a couple of times, but almost the entire game. So for me, this game, Mississippi doesn't allow a sack. The strength of the Miami team is their pass rush. I think we can kind of know what we've got going here. You're going to hear if we interviewed the offensive line coach of Ole Miss, he'd say we are going to protect, Mr. Chambliss. And if you are asking the D-line coach of Miami, say, well, how are your boys going to handle this? He said, we're going to get after them. So to me, this is one of those games where you start not by watching quarterbacks, you start by watching linemen.
Yeah, always. You're always watching the linemen and the perimeter play, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a good matchup, right? I mean, it is compelling because Miami, you and I did the podcast. We both were positive Ohio State would take care of business. They got their ass whipped, right? I mean, they were just dominated by the Hurricanes defense, who, they made a believer out of me. I mean, I've seen them all year. They're a tough team to watch offensively. They remind me of, a professional team that, you know, Carson Beck, yeah, he's okay. He's all right. He's a game manager. He's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. But their team is built on their defense, and that's Mario Cristobal, right? I mean, that's his sort of his pedigree, right? A lineman. So I think that it's a compelling matchup. Is the defense of Miami? How is it different? Different being better, different being different skill sets than what the Rebels just faced from Georgia. Do you see a difference between the two defenses?
Well, I can't go by strategy every down and how many times they've played it. And it's not that Georgia's defensive line is not rock solid, but obviously Miami proved against Ohio State. So that begs the two questions. How poor did Ohio State's offensive line play? And how strong in reality is Mississippi's offensive line? That's going to tell us the tale of this game.
Right.
But I'm going to start out with the situation that dictates decisions, meaning let's say Miami actually is able to score first and scores a touchdown. Nothing could be better for them than to have that happen. But if they get behind, if Mississippi does what they've done all year, driving up and down that field and scoring, does Miami have enough weapons to come back and win this game? I mean, those are the first two questions I ask myself.
Right. Yeah. And, it's fair to also ask, how will Miami impact Trinidad Chambliss, right? Julian saying, young quarterback at the Buckeyes, he was struggling against,
Skittish.
yeah, he was against the Canes. And,
Right.
Chambliss struggled last time against Georgia, but this time he was a completely different player. And he's just a sophomore. So it does make me wonder, like, how will he handle the Canes defense being so young? Um, I don't know. Do you have any insight on that? Any predictions?
I don't have a prediction. The one thing that has got to be told to Chambliss, and of course he sure showed it last week, is keeping his poise. He was so poised and protected.
Oh man.
He was just when he was. I mean, you mentioned it earlier. He was in the pocket. He's throwing over 40 times, and it's like, well, yeah, give me that coverage. I can find a guy open and get him the ball, and he just kept not once or twice. He did it the entire game. So if he gets off to a good start, and Mississippi is driving down the field, boy, oh boy, the Canes, and that'll take me. How good are the kickers? We don't know that. I mean, we can look at the stats, but does Mississippi have to settle for field goals instead of touchdowns? That type of thing. If they drive down and they're scoring touchdowns, it's going to be a tough night for Miami.
Well, their field goal kicker was Nails in that last game. He hit a 55-yarder, a 56-yarder, and a 47-yarder. He was phenomenal. So without those, they don't win that game. I mean, we'll see how he does this time around, but he was absolutely phenomenal, and he had that field goal, that 47-yard field goal, with 6 seconds to go. He just did a great job. So I'm very interested in that. You're right. It's funny how a lot of these games come down to special teams play, right?
Well, it sure can. I mean, when it's a fairly even matchup or it's one side of the ball against the other, it's who makes the mistakes. And we both watched enough games to go, well, this team was actually the better team, but they just made too many mistakes in the kicking game.
Right.
We've had NFL coaches this year dismissed during the season because they didn't do their job in the kicking game.
Yep, that is true. That's absolutely true. All right, so we've got that game, Miami and Ole Miss, and then we've got the next game. Let's talk about these two teams, another rematch, the Hoosiers and the Ducks of Oregon. Well, first of all, let's do a quick recap of what you saw in the last game here. Indiana dismantling Alabama 38-3, and Oregon taking care of business as well against a Texas Tech team that was thoroughly outclassed. What would you like to? What were your takeaways from the games that they just played?
Well, going to the game that I thought was going to be the closest, and it's a number 5 seed against a number 4 seed. Even though Texas Tech's defense had their moments, Oregon was obviously impressive on offense. But Dan Lanning, he was just convinced that his guys on defense were going to outplay Texas Tech's offense, and they were the dominant force on the field. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was impressed with Mr. Moore. I mean, now I'm reading that there's NFL teams that have him in the top quarterbacks to come out. I mean, he's a fine player. But the difference in the game was obviously how well coached Oregon's defense was. They made the plays. So what should have been a very close game, in essence, was not.
That's for sure. Yep. And yeah, I mean, Dan Lanning's defense was throttling, absolutely throttling. And, Jacob Rodriguez did what he could, but he's just one guy back there, right? And he's got help as the, Butkus and Bronco Nagurski Player of the Year. But the Ducks played a complete game, and we'll see. I mean, this is going to be a compelling matchup. It's can't wait for this one on Friday night. Tomorrow night, Thursday night, we've got the other game. Let's talk about Well, before we do that, talk about the other side with Indiana, the Hoosiers.
So much was made out of the pedigree of Alabama. I'm sure if you ask some of those Hoosier players, let's say they do an interview with my boy, Nashville Charlie, mm-hmm. and they said, now that Bear Bryant played in at Alabama. I'm afraid Nashville Charlie might say, who's Bear Bryant? I mean, those kids from Indiana did not care anything about the pedigree of Alabama for all these years and all those victories. They only cared about one thing, going out and doing what they have done all year. Of all the teams in college football, I'd be hard-pressed to believe from anyone that there is a college team that was more predictable offensively and defensively than Indiana. I watched them play 6 times this year. They were the same team in all 6 games. He just refuses to change, and he doesn't need to. His players are so well coached. They're so talented in essence of moving the chains on offense and limiting the other teams when they're on offense. Indiana is not going to change. And as the game wore on, and I'm watching Black and Hemby carry the ball for Indiana, it looked to me that Alabama just did not want to pursue anymore. And it became ugly. Ugly for Alabama fans to think that here is this great program that prides themselves on playing so hard, and they were not playing hard at the end of the game. Yeah. They got their butt whipped.
Yeah, they did, especially in the second half. You could see the defense. They were on the field so much, and you could see them just not be able to stop the Hoosiers' offensive line, the downfield blocking by the tight end and wide receivers. And, I mean, Fernando Mendoza only threw the ball 16 times. That's not a lot. And
he didn't need to.
He did not need to.
And then when he did, the one throw he made, let me interject this
Go
quickly.
ahead. Yeah.
When they're ahead 3-0, and he rainbows that ball in the end zone, and we know how I feel about Nashville Charlie. I mean, he is the most improved player in college football this year. Uh-huh. I don't think he caught more than 5 passes the first half of the year. But you look at his stats the last 6 weeks, guess what? Don't cover him and see what he does. And being as tall as he was, and with his good speed, when he reached up in the sky and pulled down that rainbow from Mendoza to make it 10-0, I thought, Bama, you better respond. And Bama didn't.
No. They did not. In fact, I believe after that touchdown, yeah, they had I think a three and out. I want to no, they did get a first down, but no, they were they and then they fumbled it away on their next one for the Hoosiers to score just before with about 3 minutes to go, about just under a minute to go in the first half, and it was over. I mean, at halftime it was over. Although Coach Signetti said we have another half to play, and he was hyper focused, but Indiana scoring on three consecutive their first three possessions of the second half, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. It was I mean they backed it up, and the interesting thing with the Hoosiers is their physicality, right? I mean they are just physical on both sides of the ball, and their their defense is so underrated. The average third down distance that Alabama faced, you start off at 1st and 10. On third down, they were typically looking at third and 10.1 yards. So, I mean, futility, frustration, dominance, whatever you want to say, but it was all Hoosiers on both sides of the ball. And I think their defenses get just completely, not appreciated to the extent that it ought to be. I think it's actually better than their offense.
Totally agree. I'll interject this. In my days as a high school defensive coordinator, I'm in the room with just the best defense I ever coached. I mean, these kids were amazing. And I turned to them and I said, if we are in 3rd and 1 situations, two things are going to happen. We're going to lose, and you won't see me next year because I'll be unemployed. But if you get us into 3rd and 10, I said, I can be very creative with NFL coverages and my pass rush packages, and we might win a few games. Well, when you shut out 5 teams during a season, that kind of tells it all. Because guess what? That we faced offenses week in and week out. They were in 3rd and 10. So when Indiana's defense is out on the field and I'm watching them, I'm watching that going, yeah, I sure like this. And we know that I'm pushing the Signetti bandwagon, but I want to be clear here. It's not that I'm disparaging Oregon. They can win this rematch. Dan Lanning is going to have his boys fired up.
I could not agree more with you. It's a fascinating game. It's a fascinating game. All right. We've touched on the Chick-fil-A Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl we've briefly touched on with Pete Golding and the Rebels against Mario Cristobal and the Hurricanes. Have you got a prediction on either one of these games that you're willing to make?
Absolutely. Mississippi is going to win this game. I just don't see Miami scoring enough points. They would have to have an even better pass rush, if that's possible, than they did against Ohio State. Any team that can continually go up and down the field like Mississippi has, I'm not saying they're going to do that every time, but they sure are capable. How many times do they have to do that? They don't have to score as many points in this game as they have in others. And then defensively, if you're the D coordinator for Mississippi, you want to pull your weight. How about if they take the ball away a couple of times or force a handful of punts and they keep giving the ball back to the Mississippi offense? It could be a long night for Miami, though we know that their defense will come to play.
Yeah.
As for the other game, I really believe Oregon is going to play incredibly hard. This is not – I actually see a low-scoring game in this game. I do not see a lot of points. But I just think that Indiana is the best team in the country, and they will find a way to win again.
Yeah, I'm with you on both of these. I think Ole Miss. I think that game could turn into a runaway, right? I mean, Ole Miss can they can hurt you a lot of different ways, and if that is the case, the Canes are going to struggle to come back in that. I'm not saying they can't. Tony's a fine player on offense. They have some great skill players, but it's fascinating to me. And boy, if it's no matter what the final is, we're in for a treat on January 19th, right?
Absolutely. I mean, when's the last time Ole Miss played Indiana in the college championship? And the answer, of course, is they never have.
Right.
So, in that sense, it's very refreshing to have two teams that no one in August would have predicted Mississippi playing Indiana for the national title.
Yep. And we're going to have a first-time coach winning the national championship, and a 75% chance of the first-time national champion being, you know, it's you know, the only one that's won a national championship, I believe, before is Miami, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
And of course, we know that those teams, and they had outstanding defense. I mean, they always talk about their legendary defenses, but they also, when you look back, how many of those Miami quarterbacks, if they didn't win the Heisman, they were finalists, and they had weapons. And of course, so many of those Hurricane players went on to the NFL, where I don't know how many of these Miami Hurricanes are headed to the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. This is great. Just great. So it'll be fun. All right. But it's not the only stuff going on this weekend, is it? We have some NFL games. So let's talk about that, TJ. What do you see here as we roll into Wild Card Weekend? Anything that we can't cover them all, but we could touch on one or two. What jumps out to you?
Well, first off, I need to. I had it this morning with my cup of coffee. I ate my crow. I ate humble pie this morning. I had my eating crow. Yeah. Adam Rank predicted the Bears to win the division, and in my column at the Journal, it wasn't that I disparaged him as much as I just asked, was he still sane enough to be on the planet with the rest of us, based on Minnesota, Green Bay, and Detroit's records last year. Mm-hmm. Well, Adam Rank, congratulations. You got it right. The crazy part is, and again, I'll be brief as possible, how many times in NFL history have all four teams in a division finished the season with winning records? I mean, that just tells you the strength. And we have coaching openings, and I'm only going to touch upon one of the seven.
Okay.
And that is the Cardinals. Whoever gets that Cardinal job, you are faced with DT, a daunting task. You are in a division with Seattle, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And look at how many games all three of them won. Whoever gets that Cardinal job, you got your work cut out for you. Now, years ago, to my departed friend, Steve Sable, the man, the myth, the legend, I shared with him that in 1970, the first year of the wild card, there was a road team that won. And it has happened every year since. We are at 55 and counting. There has been at least one road victory every year in the NFL playoffs.
Wow.
Now, if you go by the Vegas odds, and many of us look at that, we have road teams favored this week, especially Sean McVay and his Rams are going to Carolina for a rematch. So right there, I have a road victory, and it's one of the games I'm very interested in. But the other two that have caught my attention are Buffalo playing Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. Is this Josh Allen's year? And he's on the road, and they are, if I remember right, slight favorites at Jacksonville.
They are.
Can Josh get it done? And finally, as someone who went to high school with a former Steeler and has relished following them for years, and in a lot of ways can relate to Mike Tomlin on a number of different levels. Pittsburgh having Aaron Rodgers. This is what Aaron Rodgers wanted. He got it done.
Yeah.
Well, your reward, Aaron, look at the defense you face on Monday night. Mm-hmm. I mean, Coach Ryans I could sit and talk defensive football with him by the hour. You talk about a compelling matchup to end Wild Card Weekend. The Steelers at home that are not by any stretch a great team, but do they have one more game in them to win a playoff game against a team that just plays phenomenal defense?
Yeah, it's amazing because even though they played Baltimore in Week 18, Um, the team that was they're from Charm City, but the charm was on the Steelers in that game to escape with a victory in an absolutely bananas last half of the fourth quarter for the Steelers to be able to be home Monday night against the Texans. That is a fascinating matchup. I mean, I'll just say it now. I don't see how the Steelers can hang with the Texans. We'll see. I mean, I know the Texans are younger on the road, all of that, but I don't think the Texans are afraid of the terrible towels, and I think that they will show up, and they've got enough to earn the W. So they will be, in my opinion, one of I wouldn't be surprised if every road team won this weekend, but I certainly think at least four of them are going to win this weekend. So, well, let's say three or four. They're gonna the road teams will go at least 500, in my opinion, this weekend. We'll see.
which is amazing in its own self. And again, I'm not going to rehash the entire game, but at the end of the game, when Aaron Rodgers rainbows the ball to Austin and he
Yeah,
is wide open and
incredible.
it's coming down in the end zone, I'm going, oh, don't drop this. Do you realize what this is? Don't drop this.
Yeah,
And then, of course, let's go to the flip side. Ryans does not substitute. The 11 kids that are, I call them kids, the 11 men, warriors that are on the field for the Houston Texans defense, he just aligns them in different configurations. He's got 11 warriors out there, and he says, okay, move the ball against them. Now, they started the season slow, but look at their record down the stretch and what they've done. This is, again, an incredible challenge for the black and gold. Does Aaron Rodgers have one more bullet in the gun? Can he join Wyatt Earp in the OK Corral?
uh,
That's where we're going.
okay, that's good. Well, I'm gonna pick it right now. My upset special is the Chargers beating the Patriots in New England. So I will. That's I don't need the 3.5 points. I'll take that straight up. So I just think that's a matchup that Jimmy Harbaugh favors. I think the Patriots have a lot of
Oh,
distractions. Yep. We'll see what goes. I mean, Justin Herbert. I say that with a lot of fear and trepidation because he was just god awful last year in the postseason. But we'll see how he
yes, he
does.
was.
Yep. And the Pats have the worst
But
defense of the group left, so I think, or near the bottom of the teams remaining. So we'll see.
this is uncharted territory. I'll be brief. Uncharted territory for New England, though they're well coached. We know that. These are the games where it has made Jim Harbaugh the coach he is. Winning games like this where they go, well, it's been a nice season. Congratulations. And he's got the quarterback.
Yeah. Well, we have to, before we wrap it up, you skipped over the green and gold against the Cuddly Bears in Soldier Field here in Chicago. I know you have a rooting interest. You've got to have an opinion on this, TJ. What are your thoughts?
This is going to come down to whichever team makes the fatal implosion mistake in the fourth quarter. Does Caleb Williams, who has had his great moments in the last 2 minutes, is he going to, first off, have to do it again? Because look at how close the two times they played. I mean, this is great for the NFL.
Yeah.
To finally have the Bear-Packer rivalry back to the way it should be, where it's not where Aaron Rodgers used to wrap the fake belt around his waist and go, "We own them," and he could say that because he did own them.
He sure did. Yeah.
So now we actually have a game, and as soft and cuddly as that Bear defense is, they've managed to take the ball away. And Green Bay, I mean, no one would have predicted their record to be this poor down the stretch. So I, again, foresee a very close, hard-fought game, but I'm going to go in a little different direction. I see one of the two teams, the loser of this game, as the team that makes a horrible, fatal mistake.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Something to watch for. Great, TJ. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. we got to wrap, folks. Enjoy really we have 5 days of football. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday at the college and professional level. Lots on the line for every game. TJ, what's going to be your snack and drink of choice for the next 5 days?
Oh my gosh, I actually went to the supermarket to get some. I got, along with my smokehouse almonds, I got my honey roasted peanuts to go along with my Dr. Peppers.
Branching out.
I got it.
All right.
I have to be. I mean, we've got college and pro over the course of the next few days.
All right, living it up. No gin and juice for you? None of that?
That might be in celebration afterwards.
TJ, it's great. Thank you very much. Folks, be well. Take care of each other. We'll catch up with you next week as we take a look back at the semifinals and preview the championship game in Miami. Be well. Talk to you later. So long, everybody.